You eat them and you're like, oh, it's like hitting the lottery. So I told you my YouTube channel would be more than just yoga and just sound healing. And I'm doing I'm like, you know what? I just got to randomly share this on YouTube. This is about food. You know, I did one about cherries and cherry ice cream, which it's not too late to go comment on that. Like, because it's YouTube, it's up forever and it's fun. And thank you guys to all of you that did comment on it. This one today is not about cherries. It's not about ice cream. It's about very specifically grapes, scuppernong grapes. They are green grapes, part of the muscadine family. Something you maybe didn't know about me, but you'll know now, is for my old career, I traveled for work all the time. I traveled, oh my goodness, to 49 states, all but Alaska, 18 countries. And not like I was just there for a little while. I traveled the country for over 15 years. Yeah, so I spent more time, like 1 year, I spent 120 days in Texas alone. So it just, it all depended, but where I went a lot, a big part of all of my travels was North and South Carolina, North Carolina specifically, and that's where scuppernong grapes are grown, is North and South Carolina. So it's always a treat when I find them here in Chicago. And in fact, when I lived in Detroit, I never saw these once. So these don't get around. They're also sometimes called swamp grapes. There's a bunch of different names for them, but they're part of the muscadine family. And I actually like the green ones better than the red ones, but the red ones are good too. The skin is bitter and they have big crunchy seeds inside, which are also bitter. It says on the internet that most locals will spit out the skin and the seeds. However, I've talked to locals who, like I, eat the seeds and the skin. And here's the big takeaway. The seeds in the skin, yes, they're bitter, but holistically, if you just sit there and I've done videos on mindful eating before, if you sit there and really just, fall in love with both the bitter, the sweet, the crunchy, the smooth, the refreshing of this entire fruit, it is perfect just the way it is. You don't have to spit any part of it out. And also know all of the antioxidants, very antioxidant heavy, all the good chemicals that are in, you can look it up on the internet because there's a whole list of good chemicals that are in scuppernongs. So I thought I'd give you just a little list right now rather than say good chemicals and have you think chemicals. No, I mean like the good chemicals like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B, riboflavin. I mean, the list goes on and on. Of course, high in fiber, magnesium, phosphorus. Holy kittens, so good for you. And then plant chemicals, we refer to them, I say we as if I'm like some sort of scientist. I'm just me who cares about my health and is a nerd and studies these things. But really high in phenols and flavonoids and polyphenols and just antioxidants. So the good chemicals, the stuff you really want, that's what's in these green grapes, these little bits of heaven, these little hitting the lottery every time you put one in your mouth and you chew on it. It's amazing. Yeah. So do your studying on all of that I just mentioned, but it's in the phenols, the polyphenols, the bioflavonoids. It's just wonderful for you. It's why the pharma companies are harvesting these and making cancer treatment medications. Yeah, so might as well treat that cancer before you get it and eat some scuppernongs, some muscadines. That's what I'm talking about. Now back to the video. Scuppernongs or muscadines, whatever you want to call them, is phenomenal. So phenomenal that based right there in North Carolina, Big Pharma has set up and they are harvesting these grapes for the seeds and the skins, and that goes in cancer treatment medication. So it's really good stuff. So best way to treat cancer is to never get it at all if you can manage that. I mean, it's just a lot of bad luck sometimes, but a healthy diet, yoga, mindfulness, and eating a lot of antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables is a good way to start. So I'm talking about scuppernongs today. Here's the big thing about scuppernongs is growing up eating grapes and eating like grape jelly or grape candy or grape soda or grape juice, but then eating the grapes that I bought in the grocery store, I'm like, this doesn't make sense because the grapes that I brought in the grocery store always and so often had no flavor that was anything like the grape that I was eating and those other things. These, without any added sugar or anything, these right off the vine or from your grocery store, Tastes like honest grape, like grape. These are like candy, jelly, juice. They are wonderful. In every bite, every moment of them, they are perfect. You eat them and you're like, oh, it's like it's like hitting the lottery. Scuppernongs. Treat yourself. Now you know. Stay curious. Be wonderful. One day I'd like to have I think I might have already said this, and I'm being redundant at this point. I might like to have a vineyard growing scuppernongs in North Carolina or South Carolina. Or as my friend who is from there called it, the Cackalack, the home of the scuppernong. You guys should check out. By the way, I did a video previous to this that's mindful eating. The sound quality is horrific. So I need to like put that through my sound cleaning app that I didn't even know existed back then and repost it or do a whole new one. And maybe I will. Now that I'm eating them, I'm like, oh, this would have been a perfect fruit to do a mindfulness journey through eating. So you can check out my old video if the sound doesn't bother you too much. And maybe I'll put a card or a link here, and certainly subscribe if this is the first video you've found of me, Yoga with Jeffrey. So much more than yoga. Stay curious. Be wonderful.